Hello there, Audrey-Ann here from Live Snap Love, and welcome to part 3 in this 3-part series of what's inside my camera bag. Now in part 1 we spoke about my camera body and my more essential shooting accessories, and then in part 2 we spoke about lenses. So I went through all 7 lenses that I have, when I would use each one, and a few example photos so you can see them in action. Now today is all those other little bits and bobs that I have kicking around that maybe I don't use that often, and also the camera bags that I use. So this is all the things that I have that I don't tend to use, daily, sometimes even weekly, sometimes even monthly, but I do like to have them, and there's something more that I can have a little bit of fun with as well. So without further ado, let's start, and we're going to start by looking at the camera bags that I own. So I have 3 different camera bags, and they each serve a different purpose, or where I'm going to be shooting or what I'm going to be doing. So the first one is the first camera bag that I ever bought, and it is the Crumpler, and it's called the Pretty Boy 4000. I don't think they make that anymore. And if I just open this up, like you see kind of inside that a little bit, you can see that it doesn't really have that much. It's just got one space where the camera body fits in, and it's got one pocket at the front here, and inside that pocket is a little bit there where you can pop in a memory card, your expo disc, or a grey card, or some money, anything that you want to kind of take along with you. Now, as I say, this only fits my camera body with a lens attached. When I first bought this bag, I had a much smaller camera and it worked well. It's a little bit tight with some of the lenses. It's just not quite big enough for a pro level body with a long lens. So if you had something like the 70 to 200 lens, it's not going to fit in this bag. But if I have something like my 50mm, my 35mm, 85mm, a shorter lens, this does well. So if I'm going anywhere where I just want to take my camera with me, I'm going to fire off a few shots when I'm there, this is the bag I will tend to use. And you'll notice again, it's very utilitarian in look, and that is so that I can pass this over to my husband. If I have anything too girly, or what he considers girly, my husband won't carry it. So I make sure that pretty much everything I have, make sure that he will be able to carry that quite happily, and he won't moan at me. So that's the first one, but it's a really comfortable bag, and you can wear that across the body. It's got a really comfortable strap. You can wear that across the body with the camera and one lens attached. Can't take any spare lenses, and that works well for that. The second bag that I have is the one that I probably use most often, and this is a Lowepro backpack. Now, I don't believe you can get this particular model anymore, but you can get something similar from them. It has a flap here at the front, and in there is where you can place your camera, and then you have a space for the lens here as well, so a spare lens can go in here. And on the top here you have spaces where you can put in your memory cards as well. So you can actually fit, if you have a smaller camera body, you can actually fit 2 lenses in here. I tend to put my camera with a long lens, let's say if I was shooting with a 135 there, and a smaller one in the little section for it here. So that's that section. And then in the top here, again, let me just show you that. There is zips and little pockets, again, memory card, expo disc, money. I can also fit another lens in here if I pad it up a little bit, and there's different, pockets at the front, there's pockets at the side, there's little flaps here for putting in anything that you need there. So it's a great backpack for when you want to take more stuff with you. So again, I'll tend to take a camera, a lens, might even fit another lens in there if need to, and it fits all my stuff. Again, black, goes with everything. Husband can carry it. Husband usually carries this one because it gets really quite heavy. Now the last bag that I have is a much more girly one. Let me get this, because it is a purse style handbag. So you can see this here, this is a Kelly Moore Hobo bag, and I think they do still make this. And you do get that in different colors, and you can see it's much more like a purse. So if I open this up, inside here is where you would store your camera, and then it has different removable sections here and you can choose just to have lenses in it, for example, or just one lens. At the moment that's set up with an area there for my camera with a lens attached, and I can put one spare lens in here. There's zips on the inside there and also zips on the front for, again, holding all your essential things like memory cards, grey cards, money, tissues, anything else that you want to take with you. Now, what I don't like about this bag, I love it because it's prettier, it's nicer, but it can hold quite a lot of gear. It gets really heavy and it sits across the body or as a shoulder bag, and it's just too heavy to walk around with. It's really uncomfortable, digs in. It does have padding on it, just find it really uncomfortable for that. What I do love it for is you can actually get that flap, just sits open, and then you can wear that across the body, do it like that. And then in here, when you use the removable inserts, you can put like 3 lenses in here. And because I shoot with prime lenses mainly, I want to change out my lenses sometimes during a shoot. If I have that there across my body, I can just lift out a lens, quickly change, pop the other one back in. Everything's safe, nothing's lying around. So I tend to use it like that rather than a walk around bag. So this one more something that I would take 2 sessions so that I have multiple lenses with me. One thing I will say about this is that you can take out this insert here, and again it's got these different ones where you can just, they're Velcro, so you can put in different ones, move the position around. You can also take that out and put it into another bag. So if you have another bag, it's fair size, but if you have something that you want to take that in, you can do that as well. So that is all 3 of my camera bags and when I would use each one. Let's move on now to the additional accessories that I have. Where to start, because I have quite a lot and they're all quite random. So this is a bit of a random video because there's things here that don't all go together. So the first thing that I have is this. It is a intervalometer. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. And what that does is allow you to remotely press the shutter on your camera. So it has a cord here. It attaches onto your camera, and then you would set that, you set it to take X amount of photos over X amount of time. So let's say you wanted to take, one photo every 3 seconds for 10 minutes. It will do that. You just set that. People use that for time-lapse photography. I personally use that for self-portrait photography. We do have a video on how to take a self-portrait with your DSLR, and I'll link to that in the comments underneath this video. Incidentally, actually, that's where you'll find links to everything that I'm talking about in this video today. The next thing that I have is another little camera. And this is the Olympus Tough. Now this is they've got different versions. I think this is the 3, doesn't tell me on here. Maybe the 4. They have different versions anyway. This is eons old, but this is drop proof, shock proof, waterproof. So you can take that into a pool with you. And it does shoot in RAW. It does allow you to take control of different elements of it, so you get more control than you would with a lot of other cameras. As you can see, it's really small. I tend to use this for underwater photography, but since I live in Scotland, as you can probably tell from the accent, it is freezing here. We don't have many outdoor pools. In fact, I think we've got one. So we don't really do outdoor pools, and indoor pools just don't have nice light for underwater photography. So as much as I wanted it, for that, it doesn't really work in my location, but if you live somewhere else, go for it. But what it is good for is I will take it places and that, I maybe don't want to lug my camera to. I can hand it over to my son. I don't have to worry about him dropping it. So it was a good little buy, and I do still enjoy this little camera, it has to be said. Not something that I use all the time, but I do tend to take it with me when we go on holidays. And if there's somewhere where I don't want to take a massive camera, then I might take that one as well. Okay, moving on. The next thing I have, I'll show you the box first of all. It is a lens ball. So this is it here. And I must admit I haven't used this yet. I got this from a company called Refractique. And it's something I haven't tried yet. I use it a lot in landscape photography. You get a reflection in the ball, and you can do some really cool things with it. And it is something that I intend to use and start playing around with. I just haven't got around to it yet. Lockdown life got in the way a little bit, and then I forgot about it, it has to be said. So as I was doing this video, I found it again and I thought, you know, I will have a little play with that. The next thing I have, a little bit random, is a Lenspen. This allows you to clean your lenses. It's got a brush. You just retract the brush. You give your lens a dust with the brush, let any bits of grit out, and then it has a little polishing cloth there. Great on the go. You can just pop that into your camera bag, and that will allow you to clean your lenses on the go without needing solution and all that kind of thing as well. And I think that's everything. The only other thing I have is this little remote trigger. And again, we talk about this in the video for how to take a self-portrait. You could just press that at the camera and it will remote operate the shutter for you. I have the Canon one, but you can actually pick them up half the price as a non-branded one. I would just do that if I were doing it again. I started off buying everything Canon, and then over the years I thought, actually, really, is there a point? And finally, I don't know actually how you get this out of here. Oh yes, here we go. Is a filter. And this is what is called a it's not a graduated filter, I can't remember what it's called, a density filter, neutral density filter. And what this does is it cuts the amount of light getting to your camera through the lens. So it basically acts like a pair of sunglasses. So if it's really bright outside and, for example, you want to shoot wide open and you want to use a really slow shutter speed, an example of this might be where you know you want let's say that really smooth water where they have that looking, they use the slow shutter speed, and you can actually get that sort of misty looking on the water. You can often use one of these because you need to use such a slow shutter speed. It can let so much light into the camera, and that you know, it won't allow you basically to do that with the amount of light available. So that's what these things are for, and you buy them in different levels. So again, if you would just think of it as a pair of sunglasses blocking some of the light, how dense is that glass? How much of the light is it going to let through or not? So this is an ND8, it's got a middle of the road one. You can get 2, 4, 8, I think you can get 16 and so on. Haven't used that yet. This is on my to-do list for kind of playing around. My goal for this year is to try and take some different kind of photos, things that I don't normally do. Do I have anything else? One more thing, and that is probably more to do with editing. We'll maybe do an editing one in the future, and that's the color Munki XRite, which I use for calibrating my monitor. The only other things I have, which I will just show you at the moment, is that I have a photography stand, a cheap one, and a photography backdrop that I use as a kind of makeshift studio in my garage. Works really well. It is the cheapest thing that I've probably bought. I think I got them for around $45. They are very flimsy. You've got to weigh them down, but they do definitely help making a photography studio in a pinch. So that is it. That is everything from my camera bag. This one was a little bit random, and I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And as I say, if you want more information on anything in this video, you will find links to everything that I spoke about underneath where you're watching this video. You'll also find a link there to watch my free photography masterclass, Pro Tricks for Professional Level Photos. So make sure that you sign up to watch that as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you are here watching, and I hope you enjoyed taking a peek through my camera bag. So until next week, bye for now, and I'll see you soon.